Computer. Welcome to the Cosmic Astrology Forecast with myself, Optiks Hamilton, and my co-pilot,
Zena Edwards.
Hi Zena, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
Good.
So we started this broadcast, supposedly started actually on the full moon.
Yeah.
The full moon was bang on the ascendant.
Yeah.
At 7:44 p.m. in UK time. I'd like to show the chart. It's a hugely significant chart. So let me move this across, organize my screen. It's doing what you want to do. So this is a hugely significant chart. Let me see if I can get this box smaller. Don't need to see myself right now. Yeah, that's better. If I can get this blown up more. Can you see the whole screen? The whole,
Yeah.
is it occupying the whole screen?
Not the whole screen, but you might want to make it just a little bit larger. If you can, just blow it up. Just press zoom in the top left corner.
Well, that's as much as it's going to get.
Oh, okay.
Just this controls is on the bottom of the thing, so it doesn't matter. So as you can see, it's a Libra full moon at 7:45 p.m. here in the Great Britain, and it's a hugely significant moon. Do you see these shapes? When you have a astrological chart, sometimes you'll see some interesting geometrical shapes. This one's a kite. It looks like a kite, the blue lines.
Yep.
And at the apex of this kite is Venus and the Sun and Chiron.
Wow.
And Ceres.
Wow.
And the part of fortune, which is good fortune of luck. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, what do you call, 2 planets, 2 asteroids, Ceres and Chiron. Ceres, I think, is hugely significant to look at in your astrological chart. If you use Ceres and Chiron, it means that you've got 12 planets. Ceres is about nurturing, and it's about cycles of abundance and cycles of waning. So it's like cycles of going to in the underworld, and a cycle 6 months of abundance, half and half. So because we're coming out of the underworld, if you like, we're coming out of the autumn winter period, and we're coming into the ascendancy. We're picking up like fertility, the abundance. Just had the spring equinox of 2021, where we planting new seeds, planting new ideas, planting new thoughts, planting new beginnings. We have the new year, the Moorish New Year, and we have the astrological New Year at spring equinox. So, this being said, we do have here at the apex of this kite all these 4 in Aries. Now, this is actually I both have Chiron in Aries and Ceres in Aries.
You
so
do.
This transit is, and what's interesting as well, you have the moon in Libra.
Yeah. So
this is a hugely significant transit for both of us, if you like, because some of the things you said to me yesterday relate directly to this full moon, because the moon is about home, and then it's almost like the couple's identity and purpose, how they're nurturing each other, is all entangled. There's more to the story, but I just want to put a comma in there for now.
Okay.
So that's the initial thoughts on it, Zena.
Uh-huh.
So what
Okay.
say you?
What say I? What say I?
The God's advocate instead of devil's advocate. What say you? Actually, I've been told not to say interesting. I've been told off that I don't give you enough airtime. I talk too much.
Oh.
The astrology is over dominating the tarot, and I must be more balanced. We're in Libra, so the floor is yours.
Oh, wow. Okay. No pressure. I mean, to be quite honest, I'm always interested in pretty much everything you have to say around astrology anyway, because I'm still learning it and I'm learning its correspondences to tarot. So, for me, just thinking about the moon in its at its fullest here right now, we're talking about things reaching climax and conclusions coming at the same time as well. So we're talking about endings or like new levels of commitment. So I suppose if we're thinking about it in terms of partnerships, relationships, work partnerships, family, sibling relationships as well, I would imagine that this is a time for renewing your, I guess, renewing your vows, but not necessarily in that marriage kind of way, but definitely in a kind of like contract.
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not that's a kind of a contract with self, or that's a contract with a, and you don't even necessarily have to be verbally expressing things, especially if people are far away and you can't connect with them, or if there's a kind of rift that may have occurred. How are you making a new commitment to a relationship whereby you are acting on behalf of the good of all, benefiting everybody involved? So, I mean, if you're in a struggle situation right about now, you're trying to look at a win-win situation, basically. And to do that, there's kind of things that you have to let go of. Would you mind pulling back up the
Astrology chart.
the chart, please? Yeah, there's a couple of questions I have for you.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, because we are going to be asking kind of questions about in partnerships, like where can we be more balanced? So as much as it is about you saying you need to give more space, it's like ultimately it's about how is the dynamic with any partnership, how is there reciprocity, where is there balance and equal give and take. So it's not just about, okay, I surrender the floor. It's about how is there a balance of information that we're sharing with our listeners. How is there a balance or what's the word I'm looking for? How are we telling the full story in a cohesive way? Cohesion is the word I'm thinking about. So I have a couple of questions. And you can just let me know if I'm reaching. And I'm looking at the moon. 8 degrees there.
Yeah, on the ascendant, which is 9 o'clock position. To somebody who don't understand what the ascendant is, it's at the 9 o'clock position of a normal clock, say. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you've got Neptune at 8 degrees as well over there.
Say again?
Neptune.
No, Neptune's no.
Sorry, Uranus, sorry.
Yeah, that's significant too, actually.
Yeah, talk to me about that, please. In Taurus in the 7th house in Libra.
Well, there could be an emotional eruption.
Oh dear. Okay.
Or a trigger reaction to something, around the ethical point of view of the relationship, or some emotional detachment due to maybe it could be a power struggle because that's eight. That's 8 houses from the moon. So it could be actual power struggle, or it could be some kind of
Well, I'm looking at it. It's also in Taurus, right?
yeah.
So, I mean, is that finances that could be just causing these?
Yeah, because that Venus there is definitely to do with it's a Libra moon. It's not only to do with relationships, but it does rule Taurus also. So it is also to do with finance, law,
Security,
and things to do around with beauty and ethics. So the beautifying of the home is a theme.
Mm-hmm.
The how can I say, the couple forging a new identity, and mother-in-law coming in, mother-in-law coming into the picture. That's a theme as well.
Where are you getting the identity? Because it's in Aries.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, as well too. It is in Aries, but because the Sun is conjunct Venus.
Okay.
Sun represents identity and purpose, but it's conjunct Venus, which is the couple's identity and purpose now.
Right. Interesting.
Then,
we should have a jar for every single time we say interesting.
I forgot to mention, if you said interesting,
yeah,
the forfeit. So
okay.
I because I let you off this one.
All right.
But you got a forfeit.
All right. Well, I was going to say maybe you can have a jar. You put £1 in, or 50p in, or £1, or £5 every single time we say interesting.
It's not much.
Eh?
Not much. You can't buy much with £1 nowadays.
Okay. Then well, we keep on doing this and see how many times we say interesting, because we are talking about finances. You know, maybe putting parameters on the relationship, on the dynamic of the relationship. So this is a good one right now, or the dynamic of the partnership. So this is a good one. So it's interesting that, oh my God, I can't believe I just did that. Okay. I agree with you, because I pulled this card. I actually pulled this card, right, which is power struggles. It says power struggles. This card says power struggles. Yeah. This is a intuitive. Yeah. Sorry?
You can stop the share. I can't.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah. Yes, it's power struggles. This card is intuitive coaching cards. It says you may be involved in a power struggle between 2 or more people. But I also pulled the 2 of Pentacles. Mm-hmm. And the 2 of Pentacles is, it can be power struggles. It's a tension between 2 things. It's a tension between juggling, having lots and lots of things on your plate, you know, like spinning plates. It's like everyday activities, or your job, or demands upon you, and you're having to juggle all of these different things and trying to keep it a dance, almost like, you know, trying to keep it smooth as you're keeping all these plates spinning in the air. But it's also about juggling finances. So if you've got a power struggle between a couple, and as you just now had up there, Taurus, you've got that Uranus in Taurus, like it could be somebody is overspending in a relationship, and it's causing friction, ruckus and friction. You know, and if it maybe even is overspending, rejuvenating or renovating a home, even, which is kind of like, you're in the middle of renovating your home right now, aren't you? So
arguments over finances as well.
Arguments over finances, yeah.
And Aries can be a cantankerous energy as well.
Yeah.
But quick to like, quick to get agitated. So that is something that needs to have emotional spending needs to be curbed, and quick spending or spending without much thought or consideration needs to be curbed. And with these transits of Venus in Aries, but let me share the screen again, because it is a very poignant chart, and I'm going to probably have to illustrate some things quite a few times. So we're back to the chart, And here we have these two planets and the two asteroids, Chiron and Ceres, in the middle part in here, 5, if you like, calculated points. So it's because the moon is opposing Venus here. It's about also because we can't also forget that, you know, Libra is about justice as well. So there's something about a legal issue as well, and for a lot of people that's coming to fruition. A legal issue to do with financial thing that is coming towards a fruition, a culminating. It's a wound that needs to be healed from it. You know, there's a wound also that needs to be healed from the relationship, from the forging of a new identity. But because the depositor of all these planets in Aries, they're in Gemini, you see. So it's about, it's also about the communicative endeavor, enhancing the relationship. And people need to be very mindful that, you know, without good communication in a relationship, you don't have anything. So there should be new forms of communicative endeavors. What was that YouTube that we listened to, the art of communication, was it called?
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I'm sure it was called The Art of Communication. It's like a 4-hour book that somebody read on YouTube. It's a great.
Oh yeah, long time. Yeah, we listened to that. Yeah.
But it really helped just bridge some gaps and make a mutual understanding about how to listen effectively to one another, but making bridges whilst you're communicating and not burning bridges.
So I'm just making another observation there. You've got the Mercury there, that communication, and Neptune in the.
Yeah, they're squaring one another.
They're in
Pisces.
In Pisces, yeah, but in the 6th house, which is like Monday.
Particular to the UK. This is a UK
Yeah, okay.
moon chart.
Sure.
It's going to change in America. It's going to change in Australia. It's going to change in Europe. So,
but just as an observation, with having Mercury there in Pisces with Neptune as well, opposing Mars, which is in Gemini. So there's going to be some. For me, I'm looking at that being in the 6th house, in that it's your day-to-day interactions, it's your day-to-day speaking with each other as well. With opposite Mars there, well, especially with Mercury ruling Gemini. So just being mindful of, like, I don't know, I guess coming up from the subconscious and not understanding where it's coming from or why it's happening, just brash comments or I guess a kind of snappiness or.
Well, look, there's a theme here. Initiating something new, right?
Yeah.
Planning or constructing something towards the future, because Saturn is still in Aquarius.
Yes.
So it's about what are you constructing towards your future. And then there's a grand trine here with the Earth. So it's Aquarius, Saturn, Gemini, Mars, and the moon in Libra. So the moon is waxing towards all these aspects as well. So it's picking up some kind of force. So that is like home in the home, constructing a future with home, family, new forms of learning and communicating, but it's also learning as well, stretching your boundaries.
Yeah.
But I believe that people should find some new ways to communicate with one another that is going to definitely propel the relationship forward and create an emotional balance and harmony. Because full moons are about tension as well. We talked about this because the masculine is opposing the feminine. Yeah, But the thing about this is it's different because there's supportive aspects from both sides of the air triplicity of Gemini and Aquarius, which those blue lines you see here, with Venus at the apex of where the moon is balanced off with Venus, is the depositor of that Libra moon. I mean, Venus rules Libra. So there's a conversation there between an emotional need to initiate new communication, but also be very mindful about what you're constructing in the future. That's why that conversation you had with me yesterday about what I'm doing in my home that's being refurbished, about don't get too comfortable in this.
Oh, okay, that one. All right.
Yeah, be looking forward to the next home. Like, just use this as a planning phase for the home that it resonated,
Okay.
because you are the archetype of this moon, because this is conjuncting your natal moon. So that's why what you said to me was so pertinent, and I was thinking about it today. And I was like, wow, because this is the aspects of what's happening, that uh, 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 the relationship, the home, the future you're constructing, and what you're initiating, a new energy has to be more focused in the future than in the now. And you need to be mindful of what it is that you're bringing in, because it's a new cycle with that series. Series is about the spring now, into the prosperity, into the fertility, and the Chiron is the wound that needs to be um, um, the wound that needs to be healed from, emotionally, legally, financially, and within the relationship. Yeah. And if you were in touch with your mother in the last few days, you would have been able to extrapolate a wound that
Yeah.
your mom is communicating to you that needs healing.
Right.
That's an archetype that I think everybody could relate to there, if
Yeah.
they was in close proximity with their mother in the last 7 days or so.
Right.
So that's the kind of energy of this full moon. It's a kite. This is a what they call a kite chart, and it's very poignant. And the power of the chart is where this Sun, Venus, where all these planets are in the seventh house of this chart, which is the house of relationship. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bold because Sirius wants to nurture, but it wants to nurture something that is bold, aggressive, assertive. That's the way you need to nurture and forge your direction with your partnership. So what would be sexy is swinging from chandeliers. Would be something sexy, bold, adventurous, brave, heroic, and going on some kind of adventure.
So that's been serious, you're saying?
That's because all these planets are in Aries, but Sirius wants to nurture Aries archetype. You see,
Okay.
Sirius represents in Aries nurturing and bringing some abundance and fertility with this cycle there, and Chiron is the wound that that you using this ability to initiate and to be independent, to show self-worth and self-value in the identity of the relationship, because that's what Venus is about, valuing what we value.
Mm.
So we're valuing the Martian action, bold, assertive, self-worth, self-dominating, and it's about being self-dominant, but it's like taking the right action, the bold right action of towards independence, that then nurtures the responsibility,
Okay.
because the responsibility is this conversation that these Aries planets are having with Saturn in Aquarius. So it's what the responsibility coming towards the future that you're trying to shoot for and to construct, if you like. So there's a lot going on, but they're all kind of singing from the same hymn sheet, because it's a fire, and air is very, very explosive.
Right, interesting. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Um,
I caught myself.
no.
All right, so I pulled the stuff from the back of what you said.
Well, I'm thinking about what you're going to buy me with this 50.
Okay. 27. So the nine of pentacles here. This is
Stop the share. Yeah, sorry. The nine.
That's all right. Nine of Pentacles. This is Jupiter in Virgo. This
Okay.
card. And it's the card of independence. It's the card of self-sustainability. It's a card of entrepreneurship, and it's the card of being able to build your own business, your own prosperity, your own abundance. And that came up with, well, along with education. And this card of education, it says on here, education is an important part of your soul's development at this time. Right. So education doesn't necessarily just come from school. It comes from our life lessons, our life experiences and stuff like this. So it's really about looking back on what we've learned from the previous level of our partnerships or relationships, or what we've learned.
Sorry.
Say again?
Show the card again, please. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. So
as you can see, like, if you even look at the shape of the way the coins are being built, there's like an arc. It's the architecture of your own life. The three above the arc is got that's the idea of growth and expansion. You've got three going upwards as well. So the top one is, again, that's expansion. There's still room for growth and development. It's also, as I'm tapping into intuitively, it's that kind of the connection to divine. So how everything that we're doing that is earthly is actually a divine experience as well, a sacred experience and spiritual experience as well. So even though because I'm just listening to what you're saying about taking relationships to other levels, sometimes we have to be mindful in our partnerships that we become codependent. And when that codependency comes about, you can get a toxicity in your interactions with each other, because you have high expectations. You have expectations about what the relationship should and shouldn't be, and what people's should and shouldn't be delivering. And actually, in the Art of Love, this is another oracle card that I pulled, it actually says expectancy, right? And this is like, the pink is like your heart chakra is interchangeable between being green and pink, but that's being expansive to love, you know. And if you have high expectations, or if you have expectations of a relationship, then you set the other person up for failing. You set the other person up to fail, because you've already got in your mind, like, oh, my partnership they should be this and they should be that, and why aren't they doing this and why aren't they doing that? They should, because that's how I want my partnership to be. And that means you're not accepting the person for who they are.
Compassion and stuff like this. Having
empathy for what their story is, because everybody's got their own story. You come into somebody else's life as a whole being, you know, you just don't know what that is sometimes. Like, I don't necessarily believe in that whole thing of like, oh, that's my other half. I get it in terms of like the colloquialism of it, and how people make you feel whole, but we've come into our partnerships, into our relationships as whole beings, right? And we just have to recognize.
But that's what Venus in Aries is about.
Okay, your identity,
or yourself within a relationship. So that's the that's what they call the weak point of Libra is they can lose their identity. Someone with strong Libra energy can lose their identity in the other,
Right.
or they can
So,
be codependent, like you're saying. So that's the balancing of what we're seeing here with the planet of the moon and
mhm.
Venus dead opposite, which is the ruler of Libra in Aries. So it's this tension, and then the sun is the identity, but it's also the identity of the relationship
Okay.
as
Okay.
well.
That's that part. I almost said the I word.
So seeing yourself,
Oh,
identity, and your purpose within the relationship
yes.
reflected back at you. So when I look into your eyes, I can see my reflection.
Okay. I hope it's a good one you see in there.
Now think about it. It's like a mirror, right?
I'm just seeing my reflection in your glasses right now, but anyway, anyways, um, just wanting to go back to the whole thing of expectancy. Yeah, so the moon's also about release, right? Like as I said, it's about climaxes, so things really reaching a peak. And hopefully sometimes what we want to do when we do go to the new moon is we want to set things up so that we can reap the benefit of the moon approaching an apex of energy. So when you're reaching the release now, or the climax, yeah, this is where you have to do the releasing. So this is where you're going to have to be doing things that require letting go, that require forgiveness, reflecting on things where you look back and you think, actually, maybe I was holding on to a situation too tightly, or I was holding on to my expectations of a situation too tightly. I pulled two cards here. I pulled two cards, one for the divine feminine and divine masculine, which I can go into in a sec. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to say.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very, very poignant point. Divine masculine and feminine, because it's the Aries and the Libra there.
Right.
Yeah, and the sun and the moon. So yeah, you want to go ahead? I think that's great.
With this particular full moon, with these cards that I've pulled siege is how you say this. SEEJ, siege. And it
Okay.
says quiet time.
Okay.
And it says take some time. This is for the divine feminine, by the way. So take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. So this is a time of if there has been kind of like knocking heads, any kind of friction, to take the divine feminine, but bearing in mind doesn't necessarily have to be divine feminine is woman and divine masculine is man. This is just like, because anybody can embody each of these energies. So and they can dominate at any particular time in a person's life, like, you know, or in particular time in a person's cycle, like even a day, in a week, or whatever. You may be more personifying divine masculine, or maybe as a woman, be defining divine feminine as a man. But
You can actually see that in some people, because some people, they would oscillate looking like their mum sometimes,
right.
and
Yeah.
but they would go towards looking like their mum or their father, depending on if they're having a masculine or feminine cycle, you know, 2 years of one year of the other, or whatever. You can actually physically see that in their actual physical.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I would also add to that if there are moments where, okay, let me talk about the divine feminine. Let me just stick with that for a moment now. So making use of this energy right now, the full moon in Libra energy, it would be to do a lot more listening, So going into quietude, spending more time in silence. And silence doesn't necessarily just mean like switching off the TV or no music. It means like airtime on social media as well. Because what we're trying to do is just like declutter the brain. So like with that Uranus in Taurus there, how can we declutter the body? Looking at Uranus being like the god of like technology and everything moving really, really quickly and fast as well. So sometimes your body just needs a bit of an electronic detox, you know, digital detox, because people talk about digital detoxing.
Great That's a great point.
Yeah. So so sometimes with the whole quiet time could actually just mean like just time to reflect in silence. You know, you're doing the mundane things around the house without necessarily having music and just being in your own thoughts. And sometimes that's tricky for people to be in their own thoughts. They don't want to bear or endure silence.
Yeah.
You know. But this is a quite a sensitive time. So to avoid anything to do with like loud noises or jarring environments is the best thing to experience right now for the divine feminine. Yeah, in the book for this deck, it says to surrender mind chatter to the universe or to God, which means it's not necessarily to pray, but if prayer is the thing for you, then do it, you know. But also to just send, rather than it being like just mind chatter going round and round in your brain, let there be a conversation, let there be a dialogue, and then you just send it up to the universe, or you send it off to the ether, or you send it off to your creator, and then you let it go and don't dwell on things. You know, that's where the divine feminine, I think, could really if you're engaging the divine feminine, could really flourish, where lots of wisdom can come through. Siege, her mother, she's the mother of Sophia, and Sophia is like the great void, you know, the womb. I'm looking for a deck that's going to be coming, which is the Black Madonna, and the Black Madonna is the mother who is like the darkness that births everything. It's the darkness from whence the light comes, from when the wisdom comes from. So this is about finding roots again in the void by reconnecting to silence. Silence does exist. It's in a poem that I have. Silence does exist. So we should enjoy it as well.
The dark matter.
The dark matter. Yeah. So yeah, that's the reading for the divine feminine. Shall I keep going? If you got any questions, or is there?
No, there's not much I really want to add apart from some other stuff looking into the future. But go ahead. Okay,
so for the divine masculine, with this is the divine masculine archetypal cards. Okay, so this one says Christ, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's strictly about being Christian, but it's that enlightened state. Okay. State of enlightenment. And then the narrative, the story of Christ is of this forgiving, empathetic, compassionate human being. So for the divine masculine, this is a time, if there has been some kind of frictions that's been happening, is to allow yourself to feel. I think sometimes the divine masculine is so driven in moving forward and aggressing and action that there's not enough time to just feel, to reflect and feel. So that can be difficult for some folks as well, but this is where it may be important, making use of this particular Libra energy with this moon, like right now, to allow yourself to feel, to have empathy, for all of the expressions around, or love expressions, or the desire to negotiate, or the desire to compromise, or the desire to collaborate. They come from a genuine place of love, right, basically. And I guess that's more of an understanding of like a universal love, brotherly love, fraternal love, sisterly love, You know, it's rooted in humanities. Say again?
The ability or the desire to coexist
With others, exactly. And it's that interdependence as opposed to codependence, right? Knowing that I am because you are, that kind of thing. That Muhammad Ali's shortest poem in the world, me, we, or the spirit of Ubuntu, which is I am because you are, that kind of thing. So if you can move from that place, then you'll find that things actually are a lot easier. So this is an energy of being open to all feelings, being able to observe life rather than feel you have to actively engage in it all the time, but to be reflecting on feelings, and so that you can look back and say, well, actually, I could have done things differently, because that's where the education comes in. Your own wisdom of life experience is an education in its own right, and it will help you to make different decisions for the future. But when we get into our feelings, it enables you to create boundaries, to disconnect where you need to disconnect and reconnect where you need to reconnect. And it allows you to go through a refocusing and transformation. So obviously there are feelings that are hard, you know. There are hard feelings. There's anger, there's resentment, there's, you know, bitterness, there's hard feelings. But this is where maturity comes in, because you don't have to act on them. You can respond to them, think them through, let the feeling pass, because emotions are like water, they pass. You've got to let them pass. Don't hold on to them, don't block them, let them flow. And then you find space for something called forgiveness, and you forgive for yourself, not for the other person. You do it for you so that you can move on.
Right.
I guess, I mean, that's it. That's the divine feminine, that's the divine masculine. So this is just a way to do that thing of elevating your partnerships, of elevating your relationships, like you said, like these big shifts and new ways of doing things. This is the kind of minutia, this is the hows and the whys and the what fors of why you would do it, so that you can have that education and you can have that soul development.
Right.
And that's it.
Okay, that's wonderful. So yeah, that divine masculine and feminine, is an important topic to bring into, you know, the understanding of pretty much everything, really.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that basically, this is a great time to start the moon manifestation workshops. So every new moon, we're going to have a conference call where we're going to set our goals for the year. So if we say that this new moon coming up on the 12th of April, I believe it's the 12th.
Yeah.
This new moon coming up, then on the 10th, we could start our first moon manifestation class, where we going to set ourselves a targets, but one overall targets for the year, and then we're going to use the 13 moon cycles from Aries to Aries 2022 to fit in all our other goals. But we're going to identify what those are, and we're going to have a theme for each moon cycle. So basically, how this works, the moon cycle, the new moon of this full moon was 6 months ago, when we had the Libra new moon. So whether we are conscious of it or not, something that we planted 6 months ago has harvested this full moon here. What part of your life it is dependent on your own particular natal chart? Okay, you can look at it overall in a sense. You can say, okay, Libra's relationship, Libra's harmony, Libra's law. It could be something in those fields, but the more you know your chart, you can say, okay, like this landed in my house of what they call second house of values, finances, my money, my moral ethical codes, if you like, my morality. It 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 coincided with the Libra full moon. So that's happening in my particular slice of life in this full moon. There's a harvest to do with that. Culminating, there's a reaping, there's a revealing of that. So we can use the new moon throughout the whole of the 13 new moons that we have for moon cycles. We can use the new moons for planting our intentions, and we can use the full moons for reaping. Now, you can use this in very many ways, because you can say you can use it for planting of 6 months, for reaping in 6 months. So that's you, and you make your intentions from say when we hit April the 10th, April the 12th, sorry, and then you could reap it 6 months later when we have the Libra new moon, and then we're gonna have an Aries full moon for that Libra new moon, right?
Right, I get you.
Later.
Yeah.
But you can do another one where you plant for 14 days. So you can have a mini goal for that bigger goal as well. So the new moon of Aries is going to be a full moon. How many days later? 14 days later, there's going to be a full moon. So you can use that Aries new moon for a reaping of something in 14 days. But you got a mini cycle and you got a bigger cycle within that cycle. So you can now be really specific about your goals. And then we could all, within a conference call, we can monitor how it is that we are manifesting our intentions, how they're materializing, what we're doing towards working, and we can keep a journal, and we can keep each other strong and maintaining our goals and working towards building something magnanimous for ourselves in our lives, and reaching our goals, basically hitting our targets. So that's what we can do in the Aries new moon. We can start that for 13 moon cycles until the Aries 2022.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in April the 10th, we're going to have a conference call. The first one will be free, and we'll set the price according to how much people are participating. The more people participating, the cheaper we can make it for everybody. That's how I want to set it. Yeah. So we'll build up on momentum for the next 10, 12 days. So we can have it on April the 10th, which is a Saturday, at 6 p.m. GMT, UK time, which will be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah.
It's in. I nearly said it again. How much would I have owed you? Like 20 quid or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a pizza, isn't it? Okay, so this card here came up just to close this off. Wishes come true.
What deck is that?
It's called the Making Magic Oracle.
Look, alchemical.
Yeah. Yeah. So with this deck, this is about basically setting intentions. And it's called at the bottom of this is card number 1. So this is like fresh starts, new beginnings, pure potential. This is a magician card, if you like, even, right? Rapid achievement of your dreams and wishes. Right. And to be able to engage in some profound visualizations, as in make sure that if you're going into any visualization, it's just, daydreams are great, right? If you allow yourself to go off into a complete daydream, but it's about being able to hold the vision, really being able to hold the vision in your mind about what it is that you want, and seeing the environment as clearly as you can, seeing the people around you who are going to help you towards your vision, and then speaking it to people as well around you so that they also are speaking your vision into manifestation as well. So I think starting this class now is perfect for everybody to be, for us to all be together to do that, to be encouraging each other as well. Encouraging each other to go for what it is that we dream. I've got the star card here just to close off as well, right? The star card is a card of hope. The star card is also, yeah, it's a bit, how about that?
Yeah, it's better.
So it's this card of hope. It's the card of watering, nourishing your dreams, nourishing your emotional life, your physical, material life. Nourishment. It's a card of healing, but it's also a card of making yourself known, be known, coming out and letting your talents shine, letting people see your talents. And sometimes to do that, you can feel vulnerable. But if you've got a support network around you and everybody's speaking in the same tone of achievement, your dreams can come true, basically. Your wishes can come true. Your wishes can come true.
Speak together. Realistically. I was going to say. Yeah, when you was talking about visualization,
yeah,
and staying on your vision until it's clear and it's clear in your head or your vision. That's important, because when you're doing photography and you get the image and you develop the image, there's a thing that you have to put it in called fix. Because if you don't fix the image, it's not stable, it doesn't stay over a period of time. So it's about fixing the image in the brain in order to see it clearly, to make it permeate. So there are going to be like visualization techniques that we have to discover, practice, and bring it into fruition, but also make it understandable of these techniques, how it is that we could manifest things a lot more quicker with visualization techniques. So those are things I really would love to explore in the 13 moon manifestation. Are you up for it?
Yeah, man. Of course. Yeah, let's do it.
Great. So it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Okay.
So if you would like a reading, you can contact me at info@opticshamilton.com, my Instagram @opticshamilton, Facebook Optiks Hamilton, and this Cosmic Astrology Forecast is on YouTube. You're watching it now probably. So all kind of readings, man, all manner of readings. And if you would like a tarot reading, you can find Zena Edwards at
poetstarotcorner.com. I'm just going to write that down so you can see it. I think it would be easier. But poetstarotcorner.com, and you can book there. And I'm at poetstarotcorner@gmail.com as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. Should have been prepared and had that done before.
Lovely. Lovely.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I'll see you in the week.
All right then. And take care, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.
Maybe.
So first stop record.
What is it? What is it? Gone.
You're funny.
Don't laugh at me, man.